In this lesson, I'm going to show you how to build an RSI calculator. So this will be a flow that will produce the relative strength index, which is a very popular signal used for entering and exiting trades, used by day traders for decades and used by algorithmic traders as they've incorporated in their code. So to get started, we're going to go to the home page of your instance and then click on the advanced shared nodes in your learner's account. This will bring us to the shared folder where we have the advanced nodes. And the one we're going to be starting with is Market Open. I'm going to download this. And then I'm also going to be working with calculating the RSI. Let's download that too while we're here. And then I'm going to download web links for downloads. So these 3 files. So I'm going to return to my instance. And let me show you how to build a file. So we start out by creating a new tab. And I'm going to upload the file I just downloaded, Market Open tab. Okay, and let's start with a comment. I typically like to explain what's going on. So we're going to be calculating the RSI signal. So this is just a standard inject node setup with the to hide. So I get the small version. Let's take a look at this function node, the set ticker. This is a pretty generic node that we use to start many flows. So what it starts out by saying is it looks to the global market status to see whether the market is open. This is only going to run while the market's open. So I have an if clause here. So for instance, if I enable that, we can see if it's open. And I'm going to be trading. I put in the symbol that I want to trade. This is in NVIDIA. And I'm going to store that as symbol name. Okay, and I click that. And you can see the market is in fact open. So now I want to find out what I'm going to be doing is recording and working with the price of NVIDIA. So I need to get my alpaca last trade. I'll work with the last trade node. And I'm going to select, I'll use a paper account here. And then let's bring in that other flow. Calculate the RSI. Actually, I think there is one other file I'm going to need. I need the display prices node. Bring that one in, import. So this is a simple function node that will be connected to the data node, the alpaca last trade node. And it can display the payload here. I'm actually just looking for a piece of the payload, which is the price. And then it's going to store it'll pass the current price as a message variable. Remember, message variables are passed if there's a hardwire connection between nodes. So I'm going to pass the message price current. I'm going to get a message price previous, but this is going to be defined by looking at retrieving a flow, which is the price previous, and in line 4 is where I set the price previous. So I'm saying the flow set for price previous is the current price. So what happens is the first time I run this, there won't be a previous price. There'll be nothing in the flow, but it sets it so that the next time that it runs, it will have a previous price. And in fact, if we want to see everything, we can do this. So let's run this. And by the way, this is set up to run every 10 seconds. I'm going to just run this on command for the moment so that we don't have it firing unintentionally. Okay, so when I fire this, the market is open. This is the message payload from Alpaca. It's giving me the ticker, it's giving me a timestamp, telling me the exchange, the price, the size of the last trade, whatever the conditions were, if there are any, and a trade ID. And then in the display prices node, it's showing me the price current is 116.11. The price previous is 116.15.5. So what it did, because I've clicked this twice, you can see the price is changing here. This is the current price, and then this is the previous price. If I click it again, price previous should be close to, yes, you can see the price previous was equal to the current price now. And now actually the current price is slightly larger. And I'm going to turn these off so they don't annoy me. We know the market is open. I'll close that. And we don't need the message payload. Let's keep this though. We'll keep this running so we see what the current price and the previous price is. So as that's running, I'll clear that out so we get a clear look. So now I can see the current price is 115.97, which is slightly below, half a cent below. And then we brought in this calculate the RSI node already. Let's take a look at what's in here. So there's quite a bit of information. So essentially the first 55 lines of this calculate the RSI is documentation, which describes how the calculations are being made. You'll notice in the previous lesson, Jerzy Pawlowski took you through the theory for building RSI signals. Here we actually are putting this into practice by defining variables. And the key things you're looking at is the gain. The way RSI works is it calculates the gain in price for the previous, usually a certain number of units, typically 14, past 14 days if you're looking at day trades. If you're looking at minutes, the past 14 minutes. Obviously that can be modified. But this is set up to look at the gain for over the last 14 increments and also the average losses. We can see here we're defining our symbol as NVIDIA. That's the one we're interested in. We're saving that as a symbol name. The price current is going to be passed from the previous node. Message price current came from the previous node. So that's price current. Price previous is also a message passed from the previous node. And then what we call the ret current, which is the difference between the current price and the previous price, is called ret current. And then I'm also going to create a table, because Postgres table. What I want to do is store these results so that for later analysis, because a lot of what we're doing right now at this point is we're just trying to see what those signals are. We want to store all the data, then we're going to download it, put it into Excel, take a look at the charts, and see what we can learn about the way NVIDIA trades. So you can see here, this is where we define the look back in line 67. This can be whatever number you want. I mean, by tradition, we use a look back window of 14, but this is definitely something you want to test and you look at and see where you get better results. And then we're defining some variables here for keeping track of the time and the date, because we like to do that. We store that. We're going to store the look back, the various variables. Here we're retrieving the gains from the stored variables. And then in this section here, we actually calculate the RSI. So this is the RSI calculator. And then the RSI is stored in a table, the table name, and that's where the information is getting stored. So let's see if this works. We'll give it a shot here. Okay. And you can see this message query. This is a SQL query that was sent to Postgres. It did not produce an error message, so that means it was stored properly. So now I'm going to set this to run every 10 seconds. And again, this could be 1 second, it could be 1 minute. 1 second is probably overkill in terms of the amount of data you want, since the price doesn't change all that rapidly. And then you can see this is running, this is inserting. You can see the RSI is 42.85. I'm going to bring in that web links for download from the shared folder. Okay, and that's right here. Okay, so let's let this run for a little while, and it'll gather up the data in the table. And when we're ready to download the table, we're going to be we have to go up to our browser. I just make a copy of this usually, and create another tab. You don't want anything. Right here is the RSO, is one of machinetrader.io API, and then the name of this file is RSI. So when I click that, something should appear in the upper right corner, the output. I'm going to convert this, and now you can see that I have downloaded 200, or actually 302 rows of data. I'm going to make this a little bit larger so it's easier to see. Okay, let's widen this so we can see the full timestamp. This is the Unix time over here. You'll notice if you get into the details of this, I set up, this is Unix time in seconds, and I set up the table so that the seconds was a primary key to make sure I don't get any extraneous data. Format this. In fact, I don't want any real digits here because this is just, these are RSI values here. So what I like to do is to make then a chart showing go insert. I usually use lines. Let's give this its own tab. So this would be the price. This is the NVIDIA price. So it's been falling this afternoon. And then what I do is I want to map the RSI against that. So I go into select data. I'm going to copy this. So the RSI is in column F. So that the high point for RSI is about 85. Typically, RSI could be somewhere between 60 and 70. We would consider that as a buy signal. And then sell signals, when it drops usually below 30, become buy signals. So you can see this became a sell signal as the RSI was indicated was oversold, and I actually did a pretty good job of predicting that drop. And then when it found the bottom, actually at 20, it says, well, we think that that's not going to go any further. So then it started making buy signals. So it started buying. Nothing really too much happened. Unfortunately, because it didn't peak up to 65 or 70, you're stuck buying in this spot. So we are losing a little bit here. But once again, we start buying as this price seems depressed. We pick up a little bit of price increase here. So you can see RSI is not a bad indicator. It's not perfect. None of these are perfect. But what you want to do is to test them, adjust them, make sure you're using the right metrics, um, and it's a trial and error method. So that's the RSI.